Welcome to Hero Movement. I am Luke Jones and today we're going to go through a tutorial for the alternating underhand sneak rope pattern. As I touched on in some other videos, most of these rope patterns were innovated by David Weck and the guys over at the Weck Method, so definitely go and stop by and check out their stuff if you haven't already. The rope I'm using in this video mostly is it's one of the lighter ropes from Octomoves, which is useful for learning some of the more complex patterns. I think it's the Funky Zen, so you can get 10% off that down in the link in the description box below. So the guys at the Weck Method regard the alternating underhand sneak as one of the most important patterns for instilling good mechanics for locomotion and martial arts applications. So like most of the patterns, it involves this coil and core motion, so it's a combination of side bending and rotation through the torso that we see in most athletic movement patterns. So running, throwing, striking, grappling, lots of good things. As you coil through the core, you get this big weight shift with the underhand sneak. So you're getting used to shifting your weight from side to side at quite a speed, which is essentially the textbook definition of agility. On top of this, you also get a sense of being able to drop your weight and get really short on one side of the body and then explode up and kind of express your full length on that side. So sort of like how a snake or a big cat will coil up before it then extends and strikes. So you can become more cat-like, essentially. I've also found it's useful for improving shoulder extension and internal rotation. So these are two movements that are kind of involved in our running gait, but they're often quite limited. I know I have limitations, particularly in my right shoulder from a few old injuries. So this is quite a nice way to kind of work on those movements without having to do dedicated mobility drills. You're getting lots of reps on both sides. So let's break down the alternating underhand sneak. I recommend watching this video all the way through first and then going back through, following along, pausing, rewinding as you see fit. So you can break the underhand sneak down into 3 or 4 basic starting positions and movements. So initially we have this internal rotation start, then we thread the needle, then we have the backs of the hands together, then we open up wide and sneak. So this movement took me a little while to get down, more so than some of the other movement patterns with the rope. One thing that really helped me was this kind of little rhyme from David Weck. I'll share, I think he shared it on Instagram. I'll link to the video down below. It was basically forward, back and through, 1, 2, wings wide to the backside. You know, it might sound a bit silly, but it kind of, things like that, they're easy to remember than like 50 million instructions on how to do it. So if you have that in the back of your head, then yeah, be quite useful for learning. So let's break that down. Start with the internal rotation starting position. So we're going to begin with the rope in both hands, holding it lightly, kind of making an OK sign between your index and thumb, and the rope is behind your body. So begin with the left arm internally rotated behind the body and the right hand out to your right side by your hip. Both palms are going to be facing up to begin with. So this is our starting position. From there we can thread the needle. So the right hand is going to come forward and up and then to the left as you thread your head through that gap like threading a needle. So this is the forward, back and through part of that little rhyme. So at the same time, the left hand is going to slide across the back of your body, finishing next to your left hip. So this is where your right and left hands join, backs of the hands together, so that 1, 2. So I suggest just resetting and practicing this motion to begin with. So we're going forward, back and through from that internally rotated position, and then joining the hands on the opposite side, 1, 2. From this 1, 2 position with the backs of the palms together, you're then going to spread the arms wide. So this is the wings wide to the backside part. So as you roll the rope over your head at the same time. So you're opening through the chest, rolling the rope backwards. And this is where the sneaky part comes in of the sneak. So you're going to open up and quickly internally rotate at the right shoulder. So now you finish basically in the starting position, that internally rotated position, but on the opposite side. So now with your practice, you can add that step onto step one. So you're coming forward, back and through, joining the backs of the palms, opening up, and then finishing with that internally rotated right arm, reset and repeat. So just take it really slow. It's quite complex, it's quite different to some of the other rope flow patterns. As I've said in other videos, take it one repetition at a time, make it slow, try and make it smooth. Don't try and rush things, don't try and speed it up or do it too fast or try and do too many reps at the same time. Approach it like you're learning a skill as opposed to trying to get a workout. So when this feels comfortable, you're then going to perform the same motion but in reverse. So starting with your right shoulder internally rotated behind the body and the left hand next to the left hip, you're going to thread the needle, join the backs of the hands on your right side and then open up wide, flip the rope over, sneak the left arm under and finish in the very first starting position. Left arm is rotated, internally rotated behind the body. Now you can think about linking both sides together. So just taking it really slow, starting, left arm internally rotated, threading the needle, hands to the left, opening up, right arm internally rotated, thread the needle, hands to the right. So you can just go back and forth. Start with 1 or 2 reps at a time, reset, shake your arms out, have a walk, come back to it. Then gradually you'll be able to add more and more repetitions on. Once you get to, where you feel like you can do that almost indefinitely, we'll then move on to the next step where we speed things up. So as you become more comfortable, you can eliminate the pause at each point, and this is where it starts to become a continuous flow. It will take you a while to get down. I'll touch on some of the common kind of sticking points in a sec. But yeah, it's largely a case of persevering, taking it slow, and your body will learn over time and it'll become second nature. So a few common errors or things to consider with the underhand sneak. If the rope is getting caught on your head as you're threading the needle through, ensure you're bringing that arm forward and up enough to allow enough room for your head, enough body to pass through the rope, or you can drop your weight a little bit as it comes over you can kind of move a little bit more easily through the gap. If you're catching your leg on the side as you kind of come through, then you can experiment with a split stance, so that kind of creates a little bit more space. On the one side you might have to flip stances then in between the movement, which can be a little bit complex to start with. You might also need to rotate your torso a little bit more towards kind of the opposite side that the rope is swinging, if that makes sense. With the sneak, you can play with different weight shift patterns, so you can perform it with all your weight on one leg. One that feels quite nice is shifting your weight to the side that you're threading the needle towards. So we started with the rope on the right side, and we're shifting the weight over to the left as we thread the needle to the left. So you get that sense of weight shifting, changing direction with speed. And like we talked about with the dragon roll tutorial, you can get the wrists involved with the underhand sneak, and it'll mean you've got more subtle control over the rope. So we're beginning with the hands supinated, so palms up, and we're pronating, so palms down, to shift the rope from the start position, thread the needle, the hands together on the other side, and then we're going to supinate again, palms up, as you open up through the chest and sneak to the backside. Just a few little bits to consider. So that concludes our alternating underhand sneak tutorial. I recommend going back and kind of following along, pausing, rewinding as you need. Again, check out the Weck Method as well for their tutorials, and Octomoves has some good ones too. And as I said, rope down below. If you haven't got one, you can use that link to get a bit of a discount. Have any questions, let me know down below. I'm happy to share some ideas and thoughts where I can and try and help out. And yeah, hope you have a healthy, heroic day, and I will catch you soon. Bye bye.